Thanks a lot. Thanks everybody. So what I'm going to do in the next 15-20 minutes is essentially take you through how information is really growing and what is we are seeing from a digital universe perspective. How is it that these kind of information can be really managed? Mr. Suri, you really pointed out very good in terms of how Web 2.0 and social media is really becoming all pervasive today. Just to put some statistics to the whole thing, to reach 50 million subscribers, for instance, right? Hello, I'm audible. Yeah. To reach 50 million subscribers or users in the radio world, right? The amount of time it took, right, was about 27 years, right? Moving forward in the television world, right, to reach the same 50 million subscribers or users, it took about 13 years, right? Facebook, right, which is the latest this thing. Facebook reached 100 million users in just 9 months. So that's the kind of reach and scale which is really happening in this Web 2.0 and the social online mechanisms. So that's a very good mechanism to really reach to the citizens, etc. So you really rightly pointed out in terms of how this can be effectively used, and it becomes much more cheaper and faster to reach a much diverse audience and various kind of user profiles as well. And the less sub 30 that you really rightly pointed out, that's the current generation which will really get into future this thing from an economic perspective from the Indian context. So that's really statistics, and what it really does with all these kind of all pervasive mechanisms is that it puts a huge amount of stress in the amount of information that is really getting generated. Now the next challenge is how do I really share it, how do I protect it, how do I optimally leverage it for effective use. It becomes the next major challenge for consumers, governments, everywhere. So, what I'm going to do is really take you through this digital universe journey and say how cloud computing really helps in terms of doing these kind of things much more objectively and faster, right? So obviously the question, everybody talks about cloud computing today, right? Why is it relevant? Why now? I mean, that's the next question. If you look at from CIO or the IT health perspectives, etc. Today, because of the information glut, the key challenges today or the key initiatives which people are focusing on are virtualization and cloud computing today, right? If you see from 2009, they were number 3 and number 14 in terms of CIO priorities, right? Whereas that has come down to 1 and 2 today. So that speaks about the kind of relevance that these technologies really fit in today's context, right? Also, another key aspect in the current IT infrastructure that is existing, even in the e-governance space, in the data centers, etc. What challenges that we really face is in terms of being complex, much more inefficient in terms of the way we look at it, because there are siloed approaches in terms of the infrastructure that we really have, and it's totally inflexible, because if I'm having a particular application has to run, it has a set of storage compute network resources which is assigned to it, right? It may not be fully utilized. Maybe some other application can really use that, but in today's context, can I use it? Not necessarily so in most of the cases. So that's where how do I make it much more efficient in terms of utilization, in terms of delivery, which really brings the cost down also in terms of setting the whole thing up, and also brings agility to the whole aspect. So that's what this really helps, right? Now another key aspect is the amount of time, the digital universe, right? Now when we talk about digital universe, the amount of information growth, this puts actually it brings in one more paradigm, right? Zettabytes. Now we have all heard of megabytes, terabytes. So the IT industry really comes up with newer coinages. Now what is happening? Zettabyte actually is 1 followed by 21 zeros. So that's the kind of information. Now when I'm talking of information, it is information generated across Facebook, Twitter, in the IT industry, across by man, human, child, everybody. The amount of information generated in 2009 was about 0.8 zettabytes, right? And this is going to grow, and this is the IDC study, right, which we did. It is going to grow to almost 35.2 zettabytes. So which is a factor of 44. So by 44 times, the information is really going to grow, right? How do I really manage? That becomes the much more challenging aspect, right? So that's one aspect that one needs to really consider. And who is creating? So today, if you look at it, there is huge amount of explosion from we are digitizing everything. Be it patient records in the hospitals or video surveillance in the retail industry. Mobile users are growing. 3G is getting launched today, so there are a huge amount of data which is really going to get generated from that aspect. Smart devices, non-traditional IT devices, right, in terms of RFID readers, etc. So all these are actually generating more and more content, more and more information. And then if you look at it, there is about enterprises are about creating about 85%, and individuals is actually creating more than 70% of the information today. So which is huge. So it's going to be, managing is going to be much more critical aspect. That's where next generation IT technologies like cloud is really going to help in terms of managing this much more effectively in a cost effective manner, and which helps in terms of being a service delivery mechanism. Now, if you look at it, there are multiple approaches in which cloud computing can really be indicated or can be achieved. One, what we call it the Uber cloud, or the cool ones. No? We have heard about Google, the Amazon, etc., which really do, which is much more simpler. Right? I want some amount of resources, I just get Google. Okay, give me a certain amount of CPU resources, certain amount of compute resources, and storage resources. I pay it on a per hour basis or per month basis, etc. Right? So that is one aspect. Right? Now another aspect is the verticalization stack, as we call it. Right? Take one single vendor from say IBM and HP, have an end-to-end stack. Right? That's another way in which you can really build cloud computing within the organization. Now the third aspect is where EMC has really fit in, is in terms of what we call it as the best of breed, or the virtualization kind of technology. Because as I said, virtualization is becoming much more key today in the industry, because information is growing. How do I increase the efficiency of the assets that I have in the data center, right? So that's where VCE, like you would have seen this thing, I had the VCE initiative within EMC. What it essentially means is virtual compute environment. So what we have done is the three majors, VMware, Cisco and EMC, we have come together to form the next, help customers build the next generation IT infrastructures, right? So this is what it is. So VC is actually the strategic coalition of the three industry leaders, and what we have is commonly we share a common vision, which is the private cloud, right? And we have also aligned our technologies to ensure that it is much more seamless and much more integrated, right? We have also built up reference architectures to help minimize the risk in terms of implementing the whole aspect, and built a joint services model. Like if customers who want to really get into the cloud kind of a journey, we have services built in to help them move from the physical world to the virtual world, right? And we have a joint shared partner ecosystem. So we have a set of partners who can really deliver this across industries, across verticals, and onto the government as well, right? So if you look at it, how do I really progress? There are multiple aspects to it. There are multiple phases, as we call it. The first phase is what we call it is the IT production, wherein essentially I am looking at just getting into the cloud kind of a journey. How do I really optimize the whole thing? Reducing the cost becomes my major priority. So I just look at the traditional test and develop environment, which I really put it on the cloud, right? Before, and essentially moving from a virtualization standpoint, increasing it from say 0 or 10, 5 to 10%, going up to almost about 30-35%, right? So that is the first step. The next step would be, and again, in this case, I use efficient technologies from say storage, network, etc. So I have just put, I don't want to give a product this thing here. I'll just move forward. So essentially, I take in terms of how do I integrate. As I said, VCE, we speak about tight integration of the various technologies, right? So like for instance, VMware. So we have taken a bet saying that today, if you look at virtualization, that is moving from physical to a virtual world, the leader there is VMware, right? Which commands almost about 75% kind of market share, right? So how do I really align my technologies to integrate with VMware, for instance, right? So that's one aspect. So if you look at it from our perspective, EMC is one of the most tightly integrated with VMware. We have over 60 integration points, as we call it, right? So which makes it much more efficient when you really implement the whole thing. The next aspect is in terms of business production. How do I really put much more critical applications? Now, when we are talking of e-governance, how do I put the digitization of land records, etc.? How do I really put it on this infrastructure so that you can really build it, you can scale it, and also accessibility becomes much more effective and seamless, right? You will have multiple state data centers. You put it in various of those state data centers, and accessibility across through the connected network becomes much more seamless. So if you look at from the trends, what has been happening, right, on the server side of the business, you traditionally had a standalone server, you had an application running on a particular server on a certain operating system. Now, which then moved to a consolidation phase, right? When we had virtualization kind of technologies really coming in, so you put multiple virtual machines or VMs, as we call it, onto that same physical hardware, right? moving forward, where the industry is moving is in terms of pools of cooperation. So essentially what I'm doing is there are multiple technology softwares which are available which helps me in terms of sharing of those resources across servers, right? So that's where technology is actually moving, which is where all these e-governance projects, etc., can really use this to ensure that I have an information existing in a particular data center, how I can use it seamlessly without setting up another same infrastructure in some other location. I can use this seamlessly there. So that's what pools of cooperation using some software techniques really helps achieve that from a server perspective. Similarly, on the same side, parallelly we had storage as well moving in the same fashion, right? We had traditionally standalone storage systems, what we used to call direct attached storage, right? Then we had consolidation, a lot of software technologies available to ensure that I can seamlessly move and automate the entire movement of data across various tiers of storage, right? And then again, within storage world as well, you had pools of cooperation. I could move across storage systems. How I can really seamlessly move information across storage systems is the next evolution which really happened on the storage space. Now, how does it all tie up together? So, from a user perspective, it makes sense that I can tie this server evolution and storage evolution to ensure that you get a seamless experience, right? So that's where today what we are doing in terms of federation, as we call it, so which helps in terms of movement of resources between data centers, right? So if you have a particular e-governance application in a particular data center, how I can move it seamlessly from a DR perspective to a different data center, even though it is virtualized. So that's the next evolution which is really happening. And again, we have a lot of cool software which helps us do that seamlessly across data centers and ensuring that cache coherence, etc., is there, right? So this is where the roadmap is there for us. Today it is about local and then globally. So going forward, we need to have the whole world becomes a global village, right? So how I can move it across data centers across the world. So that's the kind of trends in which technology is moving today, right? Another key aspect is when you have this kind of digital universe and the information growth which is happening, how do I really back up the whole thing becomes a very critical aspect, right? Because in terms, if there's some data fails or servers goes down, how do I really have that information available to me seamlessly, immediately? So that becomes a very critical aspect in terms of backing up the whole things, right? So again, there are a lot of technologies available. I'll not get into technologies here, but a lot of software is available which helps me do the backup, redesign, etc. Seamlessly. Finally, in terms of what is the last phase is in terms of delivering IT as a service, which is what the e-governance, this thing is, how do I really ensure that a citizen to whom I'm delivering this particular thing can really use it effectively and seamlessly and in a very simple manner. He doesn't have to have too many clicks. If I say set up kiosk in various districts, how he can go there and having a self-service kind of a portal available, he can just click a few buttons and get the information that he wants in terms of whatever relevant in his perspective. So we as VCE, right, what we have done is we have built purpose package infrastructure solutions which would help in terms of so on which you can put in your applications which will ensure in terms of doing it and rolling it out in a much faster mechanism, right? So we call this products called V-blocks, right? So it's blocks of IT as what we call it, because end of the day you're not concerned as to what storage or what server. I just need an infrastructure. It has to be an infrastructure which is available to me. If I want to really put a particular application or run a particular service to the citizens, I want to run it on a particular infrastructure. It should be available at the click of a button. I need to be in a position to really provision it. So that's what we really help in terms of customers really do. And parallelly, what we do is we help in terms of application cataloging as well, right? So as I said, in terms of citizen, when a citizen is going to access this, so he has a service catalog or a user catalog available through which he can really provision and access these kind of services or facilities, right? And similarly, we have an infrastructure service catalog. So while deploying, right, I can say that, okay, this particular application has to be deployed using this much of resources. I'm expecting this much of hits to really for this particular application. So I can just tell my infrastructure saying that, okay, I'm expecting this much of hit. So this particular application needs to run on this many CPUs, this much of storage, and this much of memory, depending on the hit that is expected. So that's another aspect that we really help. So this summarizes this is my last slide. So essentially what it helps is in terms of giving efficiency, control and choice to the citizens, to the government to deploy a seamless architecture on which applications can really be built seamlessly, which helps in terms of bringing down cost and improving the agility, etc. So that's also I just wanted to. Thanks.